Hi all. In the previous video, we have learned how to create components. We have created one Angular application, and we have created component. We have created login component in it. So today we'll going to learn how to create variables and functions and how to access them from HTML or from TS. How to access data from TS to HTML and HTML to TS and both way. So today's topic is data binding. How we can communicate it between model and view. Model is nothing but a TypeScript, TS and view nothing but template, or we can say it is HTML. So data, we can create like a data, and we can create functions. So those things also how we can create, where we can create. So these things we'll learn in today's video. So be with me and simultaneously do with me the same whatever code I am showing and whatever I am giving. Just do with me, then only you will be facing some problem. Then you will see how I have solved it. So you can also solve it by using that only. If you are lagging somewhere, then you will be somewhat in difficult position to resolve, and if you stuck somewhere, then it is very difficult to solve that, then move forward. So be with me. So whatever I am doing, just do with me. Yeah. So first we'll check what is data binding. So data binding means what we will create some variables, and we will try to access them from TypeScript TS to HTML and HTML to TS. So synchronizing data between the model and view, nothing but from synchronizing data between HTML and TS, and it connects the element properties and methods. So properties is nothing but the variables, and method means functions. Just let's say you have created one variable, and you need to show it in HTML. So that binding how we can do, so we'll learn in this data binding session. So yeah, communication between TS and HTML is nothing but a data binding. Yeah, so now we'll move to the types of data binding. How many types of data binding? So basically we have two types of data binding. First one is one-way data binding, and the so one way means we it will only communicate from in the one direction. It will not come bi-directional. So we have sub parts like interpolation, then property binding, and then event binding. So this will learn going forward. So just we have in one way we have three types. So three different ways we can communicate by using this one-way binding. And then we have two-way data binding. So it will be from HTML to TS and to TS to HTML. So any way we can communicate. So that's why it is saying like two-way data binding. So now we'll go with the one-way data binding, and we'll check what is the interpolation. Now we'll check it in detail how it is happening, and then we'll go with the coding. So yeah, one way data binding is nothing but you are going from A to B, not from B to A, only one way. Okay, like HTML to TS or TS to HTML. So yeah, we'll first check interpolation. So let's say we have HTML and TS. So now we need to pass data from TS to HTML, model to view. Okay, so now, so yeah, let's say I have created two variables in the TS file. Title is equal to welcome and header is equals to Angular. So how we can show it in HTML? So by using this interpolation property, we can show to the HTML by writing. So this is the formula, or we can say syntax. Okay, so what we need to do? We need to do double curly braces, and then inside that we need to write whatever variable name. So this will be, so compiler will understand like this is having so compiler will understand like once he check this double curly braces, then he will check the whatever variable in the TypeScript instead of HTML. So how we can write span and then double curly braces and then title and then span. Generally we are writing span and then whatever the welcome and then closing of the span. So this we need to do dynamic. Now we are doing dynamic data binding. So whatever we will write, let's say if we update something in the title, then HTML will be automatically updated. So we'll see that in the real example. So now this is like interpolation. So this will happen only from TS to HTML, not from HTML to TS. The second we have, yeah, like header also we can do header h1 and then double curly braces. Then so what will come in the UI? It will come as welcome, and in header we will get to Angular. Okay, not this title and header. Okay, now we'll move to the property binding. So property binding is also same way as a interpolation, but here what we are doing, here we are not showing the whatever variable, we are changing the values of any property, like yeah. So as the name suggests, property binding, right? So property is like we have attributes in HTML tags. Like let's say we have this image src and then alt. So we have these two, src and alt, these two attributes we have, and we have some value in it, right? So here if you see image girl.jpg, so that is a static value, and this girl with a jacket, so that value is also a static value. So we can say src and alt, those are the properties. So we are binding these properties. So let's say if we need to change the alt, whatever alt, we need to change it from dynamically. So how we can do if we need to update? So if this is the what we have written in the HTML, then it will not change anytime. So what we need to do, so then now we'll change that property from TS file. We'll access this property from TS file. So now I have let's say I have created alternate variable with value girl with a jacket. Okay, so how we can access that? So this is the syntax. So in the square bracket, first we have, for interpolation we have double curly braces. Now we need to use square bracket of the property, and then the variable, then the whatever variable name we need to use. So let's say we have this girl same way we have created. Now we will, so how we can do? Property in the square bracket, whatever property we have, that needs to be square bracket, and whatever value. Now, so browser, what will browser do? Browser will check this square bracket. If compiler will check this bracket, if it is a square bracket, then this whatever we have written in the next, so that variable compiler will check in the ts file. So this is called as property binding. Now we'll move forward. So this we have learned interpolation and property binding. Now we'll learn how we can transfer data from HTML to TS. So that is called as event binding. So yeah, and this property binding is assigning dynamic values to the TypeScript file. So it will assign value from the TypeScript to the attributes of HTML tags. So whatever variables we have created in the TypeScript, that value we can assign to the attributes of the HTML tags or properties of the HTML. Now we'll check event binding. So event binding will communicate from HTML to TS. So whatever we have in HTML, that will move to the TS file. Okay, let's say I have one function add input 1 and input 2. Okay, now I need to call this function. So we have events like, right, we have click event or on hover, on focus, then on change, and multiple events we have. So those events we can use in the HTML. We can call the functions. So this is so now I need to call this function add input. So how we can do? So there we will use event binding. So first it will be a so first we need to give this open and close brackets. These brackets we need to give, and inside that we need to have event. So click is the event, one event. So like that we have multiple events, so any event you can use here, and then equals to same way, and here we need to give function. So here add we have, so add and whatever parameters we need to give. So this parameter we can take from HTML, and those we can access. So now this will call this add function. Okay, let's take an example like button we have. So in button we are giving this click and then add 2,3. So it will add that whatever function we have written, so that operation it will perform. Okay, so this is called as event binding. So event binding is in bracket, normal bracket. Okay, so interpolation. So what are the three one-way bindings? First is interpolation with double curly braces. Then we have property binding with square bracket and event binding with open curly bracket, open bracket. Okay, now we'll check how we can do the two-way data binding. So two-way data binding is like we can access from HTML to TS and TS to HTML, either way, anytime. So yeah, two-way data binding is happening from HTML to TS, any of the way. So let's say I have created one username. Okay, so how we can access this? So now, so we have said like square bracket for property binding. So ng model is one of the property, and then this this bracket means it is a event. So we are combining both, like property binding and event binding. So when we combine both with ng model, then it will access those variables. So wherever we are taking some input from user, there we can add this ng model, like input drop down, then we have radio buttons, then we have radio buttons, then multiple things we have in the HTML. So those all the things where we need some input, where we need input. So there text box and all these things. So there we will use this ng model where we need some input from user. So let's take an example like input, where type is text. So whenever so some if you assign, so starting of this username we have user. So on the HTML, when we load the application, user will be visible. Then you can type, you can add user anything, or you can remove that. So this is the way how you can do binding in two. But here ng model is required. There on in previous one we need to use property or this event, but now ng model is constant here in two-way data binding. So if compiler check this square bracket and open bracket and normal bracket, then he will check ng model. If it is there, then what he will assume, like if this username is belongs to, it needs to go to HTML TS file, and that value he will take, and he will compiler will update that in the UI. And whenever you type something, so that time what will happen, HTML to TS communication will happen. And whenever you update something in the TypeScript, that time also the TS to HTML automatically it will happen. Okay, so this is like two-way data binding. So what we have learned in this one way and two-way data binding. So in one way we have three different types, and two-way we have this ng model. So now we'll check syntax overview. So this is normal bracket. So what is the type of binding? Can you guess? Okay. Yeah. So this is event binding. Now let's move to the next one. Yeah. Yeah, which is this interpolation. Then this both. So next one, This is two-way data binding. This is property binding, where we can bind properties and we can access that from TS bind. So yeah, this is what all about data binding. Now we'll go with the in our code what we have created a login application, and we'll check this in practically. So let's move to the application. Yeah, so we have more. So yeah, we have created this login application previously, and I have come here. So if here you are seeing this path, right? So this path is very important. If you didn't check this, then it will. So this path, how you can do: open folder, then wherever your folder, then just go in this application where you have this src angular and then node modules, then you can select this select folder. That's it. Directly you can come here. Okay, now what we need to do, so let me close this all. Now today what we'll do, this app same way login app is the login form is there, same way we need to create. So that's why we need to go to app, then copy path, okay, then cd, then control V. Okay, so first if you have not given this, then that app will create it directly in this app, synchronous to this app where we have these assets. Okay, so this path is very important, where now we'll create a new component. So what is that component? nggc generate component, and then the component name, what is the, now we'll create data binding component. So it will automatically add data binding component. Okay, so just let me create it. Yeah, so now data binding component is created. Now we can see here data binding html css spec and ts. So this component is created. Now let me run. So npm start or ng sir, they both are same. So if you see here, npm start will go and this will do ng sir only. Let me open this html file. Yeah, so application is running. Now let me go here, localhost 4200. Yeah, so it is previously login app. So whatever we have did in the previous session, same we are seeing here in the login. So now we'll just comment this component and we'll come here back. Okay, so where we need to go, app component.html file. So let me open in different screen. Now go in this data binding component, just select this selector, control C, then just comment it. Yeah, now save it. So if you see here component is done, but we have applied the css to our whole application. That's why the background is there. So let me, so global CSS we have applied, that's why. So let me comment this as well. Yeah, now this is okay, fine, great. Yeah, so now let me close this. Let me open this component TS and CSS. Okay, now let me just add one simple HTML. So just I am adding simple HTML. Okay, so here I have added one image, and this band for, and let me add this one where I have added some margin, and that header also I have added some CSS. Okay, let me see. And one more thing I have done. So here in assets I have created one folder images, and inside that I have just put one simple image. So what we are doing here, we are adding one image and we are giving some header. So let me save. So one time also we can save. Here you need to go at this editor, open editors, then here we have save on, or we can have file and then save all also. Here also we have this option, save all. Okay, this is saved. Let me check what we have. Yeah, welcome to data binding. Okay, and this icon also we are getting. Okay, so now, yeah, one more thing I need to tell, like, yeah, so in the src, if you see here, so previously we need to give the absolute path. So now it is directly accessing these assets. So what you need to do, you need to go in the assets image where your path, just copy and copy relative path. Okay, and then you need to put here some same name. Okay, so it will take src asset. So let me save. Is it accessible? So if you see here, image is not accessible. Okay, because this path is not relevant. So src, it will, so whenever we are having, we are getting this, we are accessing anything from this assets folder, so directly we can access assets. Okay, because our main focus is in app, so directly it is there in the app as well, assets. So assets we can directly access. So this path, now if you see, the icon is here. Okay, yeah, so now we have created some icon and this one. So now let's see first thing, interpolation, how we have done. So yeah, so how to create variables, first I will tell you. So in every component, whenever we'll go, let's say login form as well, so there we have this export class and then login component, right? That class we have. So same way here also we have. So same way we need to create our variables in the class initially. So whatever we have learned in C++, so first we are initializing the variables, right? So those variables we need to initialize, and then we'll write constructor and then functions. So this is the flow. Every time you need to understand. Okay, so how we can write variable? So let's say title. Okay, then colon, then type of title, so we need to give string. If we haven't given any title, then any it will take, so no need to. But now we know the title is of type string, so any also we can specify, or if we didn't specify anything, that will also work. Okay, and now just I am checking same thing here. Okay, but the good practice is we need to tell the type of variable. Okay, now I have given here. Okay, so this is a string and just we have created, and let me just end function how we can add directly. Just I am adding one simple function add, and then input to understand correctly. Okay, and now we'll create one number here, total. Okay, so we'll initialize with 0 now. Yeah, and now if you need to access the variable in the any of the function, we need to write this global. Okay, this, and if you see here we will get add like function. So if you need to access a function inside function, then also we need to write this. Or if you need to access any variable inside any function, any global variable, not this local variable. Local variable we can directly access, but if you need to access global variable, then we need to use this. So this dot total is equals to total plus then the input. Okay, just I am creating one function. So if I write this dot input, then it is not accessible because that is not a property. So this is because this input is a local property, so that's why we are adding. So this is add operation, how we will do the add. Okay, so these three we have created: title, total, and then add. Okay, so in this way you can create a variable and function. If it is not having any function, any parameter, then you can directly add like login, then same. Okay, same function. So this is a login function, let's say. Let me remove this, save this. Now what we need to do in interpolation, we need to access this welcome to beta binding to this one. So let me remove this. How we can do? Double curly braces and then type. Let me save. Oh, yeah, okay, so the spelling is missed, and whatever we have written, it is not in the TS file. So this is okay, so one T is added. So if you see here, let me show you the error. Okay, this title is not accessible. Okay, because that title is not there in the TS file, that's why that error is come. Yeah, now if you see, it is running properly. Okay, now if we go, okay, welcome to data binding. Now this is coming. Let me change that to 1. Okay, now check, welcome to data binding 1. So this is working. Okay, so now this interpolation, how we have done, just double curly braces and then the variable name. So this is what interpolation. Now we'll check property binding. So now just let me, if you see, this is a property and now we need to access this image from the variable. So let me create alt image. Yeah, and the naming conversion we need to follow like small case, small uppercase, camel casing here for variable and function. So if you have alt is one meaning and image is one meaning, image is other words. So if we are combining, then first letters always should be small and then second letters first word should be, so that it is easily readable. And we also need to follow this variable, writing variable format. So numbers should not be the variable should not start with number, and it should not have any alphabetical words. So those are things we need to follow to be a good developer. Okay, then alt image, then again I'm doing string, then yeah, now I have added image. Okay, now we'll try to do this property binding. So how we can do property binding? First we'll add here square bracket. Now just let me add square bracket and check what it will happen. Okay, now if you see here, yeah, if you see, property image does not exist on type data binding component. So what it is saying, compiler looks for this image variable, image as a variable, but we don't have any image variable in the component.ts file. So that's why that image, that problem is occurred. So compiler is giving error directly at the time of save only. So now we need to add here variable name. Okay, now check. Yeah, so when you add square bracket, it means it is a property, not a static variable. Okay, so now this page is done. Now it will not show here because here it is having correct image. Let me make a wrong image. So icon1.png is not there in this images. So assets will be always there in your folder. So you need to create this image folder and you need to put this icon. Now this in image you don't have icon1.png, you have icon.png. So it will be wrong path. So now it will show alt name. Okay, not alt name, whatever variable, whatever we have assigned in the alt name, that it needs to show. See, image. Let me change the image 1 2 3. Okay, so this alternate name we have given now. Let's see. Yeah, if you see here directly, it is changed now. Image 1 2 3. So like this we can access the property. Let me make correct one. Okay, so now we have added this with interpolation and this with the property. Okay, let's start with event binding. So to start with event, we need to have one function and one button. Let's say, because whenever we'll click, that time we need to change something. So first we'll go with, first let me create header. First we'll show the total. Again we'll use interpolation, and now copy the total here. Why I am copying again and again? Because if you miss something, some word, then it will be a wrong again. So to make you good practice, just copy variables. Okay, so now h1 will be there in your total. Let me check, is it coming correctly? Yeah, total we are seeing. So instead of h1 I can add h3. h3 h3. Okay, now it is looking good. Now we'll add a button. Okay, add, and now we need to create, this is a event binding. How we can create? By using bracket. And now we use, let me first show you the button. Save, and yeah, now we can see here button, right? Now if we click, nothing will happen. Now we'll add event, click, then we'll copy the function name. So we have added this add and input. So now we'll copy this function name, just add, and then inside that we need to pass the parameter. So let's say 2. I am adding 2 for now. Okay, now we'll see what will happen. Now whenever we click, add will call this add function, and it will give input whatever we have, and then this whatever total we have, so that 2 will be added. Let me show you here. Yeah, if you see here, 2 is added. If I again click, what will happen? This total again, it will come here again, total it will give previous total, and then 2 again. So let me add again. Yeah, okay, let me show you how to do debugging as well. So what we need to do, control P you need to do, and then data binding component.ts, open it, and then just debug here. Okay, now whenever we'll click on add, it will go in that function. Yeah, if you see here, so you will see what is the current value of this dot total. It is 8. It is showing in the browser as well. And what you have sent 2, right? When you click on add, that time you have sent 2. So to 8 plus 2 it will go, and it will come as this dot total is 10. Current value is 10. So that's why now it will change to, yeah, okay, 10. So this is happening like 10 plus, and what we can do, we can on click of add, will update this title as well. So this dot title is equal to this dot title, or what we can, add, adding, or what we can add, yeah, per okay. Now once we click on add, the our title will also change, so that's why it is called as dynamic. So data binding is dynamic, that's why we have added this interpolation. So now let me refresh. Now let me click on add. If you click on add, this title also will change and this total will also change. Yeah, if you see, performing add operation, and here total is 2. Now if I click again, then this will remain same because same we are updating. Okay, let me also add plus this dot total. Okay, let me show you. Yeah, so now it is refreshed, and if we add now, what will happen? Yeah, so previous value is 0, that's why it is previous value it will take, because we have not taken the value directly. After the total, it is previous one. Now if we, yeah, so this is also updating now. So this is how we can do this operation. Okay, now we have checked this one way data binding. We have checked how we can do this interpolation, property binding, and event binding. Now we'll go with the two-way data binding, how we can do. So let me add one input box. Let me add div. Yeah, so I have added this input type, and yeah, so if you see input value and add value. Okay, let me give some. Okay, so now if you see, we have input. So now what is the, and this is the of type number. So now we can enter anything, and that value we can check by adding. Okay, so now if I do this, this add value is not happening because we have not added the function. So let me do this. We have not added this property binding. Okay, so before that we'll show you. First we need to do for input pairs the two-way data binding. So first what is this? Property binding, then event binding, and then ng model. Okay, after that equals to, and then we can use this variable too, or we will create one variable. or first we initialize 5 and we'll check. Okay, now what will happen, this will bind whatever in the HTML. Yeah, so one more problem we have. So what it is saying can't bind the ng model since it is a non-property of input. So now ng model will not be bind because this ng model needs to be first imported. So we have one library called as forms module. So forms we need to first import in our project, then only this will. So by default we are not getting this forms. So let me add. So whenever you are getting this like this type of like any property is missing, that means something import you need to do. Okay, so app module. So how we can add, this is the forms, copy forms module, and where we need to go imports. So if you see in declaration, our data binding component is added. So declaration is whatever we are creating, those are in declaration. Import means external library, whatever, and bootstrap is which component needs to go first. Okay, let me save it. Let me check here. Yeah, now if you see, that is automatically. So Angular forms, or if you type this, if you copy this and just paste in, if you can copy, if you are not getting what is the problem, then if you copy this, just go in the browser and just check what is the problem, then here only you can find some problem. What is this? If you see directly, you will get the answer. Yes, that's, you just added and import this forms module. Yeah, in order to able to use. So here you are seeing the right forms module you need to add. So like this way you will get some solution. Okay, and here it is like a green tick. So wherever you have green tick, so that is a best thing you can check. Okay, yeah. So now we can go back and close this now. Just will check once on UI. Now if you see, you are seeing this 5 means from TypeScript to HTML, this 5 is came. Now let me add this 5 to add value, right? So currently it is not working because we have not added, it is not, we don't have any functions here, right? So let me do the same thing. Okay, yeah, and one more thing, to access the properties from TS file, right? Here we need this dot total, right? But here it is not required. Directly if you write input means that is the this dot input, so no need to write this here. Okay, so now if we see add to, so first we'll check add to. Okay, now we'll check what will happen. So now it is working same way what this add is working, right? Now we need to add this value to this, then only it will act as a our two-way data binding. Then we'll check how. Okay, now what we need to do then, this input property we need to access. So how we can access? Directly we can add here input. So whatever we have in this input, that will be accessible, and that will be go to TypeScript. Okay, now let me check. Okay, now if you see here, total will be 5. Okay, now whatever previous total it is show here, and whatever current one it is show here. Okay, I'm performing add operation. Now let me do 6. So if we type the 6, so that input automatically will be updated. Let me show you in the, so no need to do this, automatically it will update. So let me come here. Now let me add, or if I do this add, then we'll check. Okay, input is 2, title total is 2, but if you see here this input, yeah, now we have two inputs. This is one input, that is a local, and this input we need to check. So how we can check? Go here and just type this dot input. Okay, now if you see, you have whatever we have typed, that is here. So 6 is there. So means that is whenever we will type anything in HTML, that will automatically update in TS as well. So that's why it is called as two-way data binding. Okay, now if we go, now it will perform 2, but if we go here, now it will add 6, because here we are adding this 6. Let me add 9 again. Yeah, if we add 90, then it will operate. Okay, but if we add here as type is a number instead of number, if we add as a text, then that output will change. Now if we add 5 first time, yeah, okay, so this is the number. In this way we have created some variables as function as well, where we need to create, and where we can create functions that we have checked how we will perform this one-way data binding, and how we can implement this two-way data binding with the example we have done today. This way we can do the data binding in Angular.